If you're watching this, you're either early or you already missed your chance, and that's exactly why this video matters more than ever right now. Most people never talk about the ugly side of Bitcoin. The costly mistakes, the stolen funds, the regret of waiting too long and watching everyone else get rich around you. They think the hardest part is buying it. But the truth is, what you do after buying is where most people lose everything. People buy high, panic sell, misplace their keys, fall for scams, and never recover. All because they didn't know the rules before playing the game. I've pulled real stories, real numbers, and painful lessons that thousands of crypto investors learned the hard way. So you don't have to repeat them. These are the brutal Bitcoin truths you'll wish someone told you sooner. And by the end of this video, you'll know how to avoid every single one. And when we get to section 4, it flips everything on its head, because I'll show you how the rich grow Bitcoin wealth without selling a single coin. So if you want to survive and thrive in this market, stay locked in, because this is your chance to learn the things most investors only discover after it's too late. If you have ever said to yourself that you missed the chance to get in early, or you feel stuck watching others profit, this message is meant for you. Maybe you hesitated when Bitcoin hit a certain price, or you bought at the top and sold too soon, and now you are wondering if it is even worth trying again. Perhaps you are trying to understand how people talk about owning several Bitcoins, while you are still figuring out how to afford just a fraction of one. These are not uncommon thoughts. Many people feel confused, left behind, or priced out entirely, especially when the space keeps moving faster than they can keep up. The truth is, it is not about being early anymore. It is about being smart from the moment you choose to learn what actually works. No one is born understanding crypto. Every successful investor had to make the choice to stop guessing and start learning how the system really works. If you are still watching, then you are already further ahead than most. You are not late. You are just on the edge of doing it right this time. And what comes next will show you exactly how. Now that you are here, let me show you what you are going to walk away with if you watch this video to the end. You are going to learn exactly why so many people lose money in Bitcoin. Not because the system is broken, but because they never learned the simple truths that make all the difference. You are going to see how even if you cannot afford a full Bitcoin, you can still grow real wealth using the same mindset and tools used by people who started with much less. You are going to understand how to protect your Bitcoin from loss, theft, or accidents, with tools that most people only discover after they have lost everything. You are going to discover how the wealthy use Bitcoin to borrow cash, unlock value, and build assets without ever selling their coins or triggering a tax event. And you are going to leave with a step-by-step understanding of how to stop relying on hope and start using strategy to grow, protect, and multiply your Bitcoin holdings the smart way. These are the lessons people usually learn too late, after they have lost time, money, or trust in the process. So stay with me, because what you learn next will change how you see Bitcoin forever. Let's start with the most common feeling in crypto: regret. It shows up when someone says they saw Bitcoin at $500 and thought it was too risky, or when they waited at $20,000 and now feel like they missed their shot. Regret is powerful, but it is not a stop sign. It is a signal that something matters to you, and that you still want to be part of it, even if you are not sure how to start. There is a popular story from one of the comments where someone had over $400,000 ready to invest, but felt paralyzed because they waited too long, and now they are afraid it is too late. But here is the truth most people do not realize. Bitcoin has gone through multiple cycles, and every time, people thought the window had closed for good. If you had bought at $60,000 during the last bull run, you would have seen it crash by half. But people who kept learning, kept building, and kept holding now understand those dips are part of the pattern. The only people who consistently lose are the ones who let regret keep them frozen, watching the market move without them, year after year. Instead of asking if it is too late, the better question is, how can I still make this work with what I have right now? Because the people winning today are not the ones who started early. They are the ones who started prepared, no matter when they entered. And that is exactly what this video is helping you do. Replace regret with a plan. In the next section, I will show you how even if you cannot afford one full Bitcoin, you can still build serious wealth using just a small fraction. One of the biggest myths holding people back is the idea that you need to own an entire Bitcoin to see life-changing gains. The truth is, Bitcoin is divisible into 100 million pieces. That means you can own a tiny fraction, even just $10 worth, and still benefit as the value rises over time. There is a story from a viewer who asked how anyone is supposed to buy 10 or 20 Bitcoin when most people do not even have $1,000 in their bank account. That frustration is real, but it is based on an outdated mindset. You do not need to go all in to see real results. People who started buying small amounts weekly, even as low as $20 per week, have seen serious growth during past cycles without ever owning a full coin. This strategy is called dollar cost averaging, and it removes the pressure to time the market or save up a large lump sum just to get started. It also helps you stay consistent, which is one of the most powerful habits in crypto investing, especially when prices are volatile and emotions run high. Another viewer explained how they built up over 2 Bitcoin in under a year, starting with just a few $1,000s, because they stayed committed to the process instead of chasing pumps. The key is not how much you start with, but how consistently and smartly you build, and whether you actually hold when it counts. Bitcoin is designed to reward patience and conviction, not gambling and shortcuts. Owning even a small slice positions you to grow with the network. And when the next wave comes, it will not be about who has the most coins. It will be about who has the right mindset and strategy in place. Now that you know you can start with a fraction, let me show you how to protect what you have before you lose it to something most investors never see coming. One of the hardest lessons in Bitcoin is this. Most people do not lose their coins from bad investments. They lose them from simple mistakes. It could be a lost password, a misplaced recovery phrase, a hacked phone, or a fake support email that drains your wallet while you sleep. One viewer shared how they lost $10,000 and never returned to crypto again, not because of a market crash, but because they did not know how to protect their assets. This happens more than most people think. Billions of dollars in Bitcoin are permanently inaccessible, sitting in wallets that no one can ever recover. The biggest risk is not price volatility. It is bad security practices and trusting the wrong tools with your hard-earned crypto. If you store your Bitcoin on an exchange, you do not fully own it. If that exchange shuts down or gets hacked, your coins could disappear forever without warning. The safest way to protect your Bitcoin is through self-custody, where you control the keys and no one can access your funds unless you allow it. This means using a trusted hardware wallet, writing down your recovery phrase offline, and never sharing your private keys or seed phrase with anyone, ever. For those who invest through Bitcoin ETFs or apps, you still need to understand where your assets are actually stored and what rights you have if something goes wrong. Security in crypto is not optional. It is your personal responsibility, and it is easier to set up correctly now than to try recovering funds after they are gone. You worked hard to invest in Bitcoin, so make sure it stays yours. That is the difference between being lucky once and building long-term wealth. In the next section, I will show you how people are borrowing money using Bitcoin without ever selling it, and how you can do the same while keeping your coins safe. Most people think the only way to profit from Bitcoin is to buy low and sell high. But that mindset comes from traditional finance, not from understanding how crypto works today. The wealthy have a very different strategy. They do not sell their Bitcoin when they need money. Instead, they borrow against it, using it as collateral to access cash without triggering taxes or giving up ownership. This approach is becoming more common because it allows investors to stay exposed to Bitcoin while using their gains for real-world needs like buying a house, launching a business, or investing in other opportunities. Some of the platforms making this possible include Coinbase, Strike, Unchained Capital, and LEDN. These services allow users to lock in a portion of their Bitcoin and receive a loan based on a loan-to-value ratio, typically around 50%. This means if you lock up $10,000 worth of Bitcoin, you could access $5,000 in cash and keep your crypto intact for future growth. One viewer asked how to borrow if their Bitcoin is in self-custody, and that's a great question. The answer is that some platforms now support custody integrations, or you may need to temporarily transfer funds to a lending account with strict terms and controls. It is also important to understand the risks. If Bitcoin's price drops too much, you could get a margin call and be required to add more collateral or risk liquidation of your position. That is why borrowing against Bitcoin should always be done with low leverage and a clear exit plan, not based on price speculation or emotional needs. Used wisely, this tool allows you to unlock value while staying in the game, and it is something even small investors can benefit from as their holdings grow. You do not need to sell your Bitcoin to use it. You just need to know how the system works and how to protect your future from unnecessary losses. Now that you understand how to grow, protect, and use your Bitcoin smarter, let us tie it all together with a recap and a roadmap to help you take the next step. Let's take a moment to recap what you now know, because if you made it this far, you are already ahead of the curve. First, you learned that regret is not the end. It is your starting point. Whether you missed the early days or bought too high, you can still turn that into a win. Second, you now understand that you do not need an entire Bitcoin to build wealth. With smart strategies and consistency, even small amounts can grow into something meaningful over time. Third, you saw how most losses in Bitcoin happen not from the market, but from user mistakes. And now you know how to protect your assets like your future depends on it, because it does. Fourth, you discovered how to unlock the power of Bitcoin without selling it. Through loans and leverage, you can access cash and opportunities while holding your position for the long game. Now here's the real question. Would you rather try figuring this all out alone? Or would you rather follow a system that already works? If you are ready to go deeper, get practical guidance, and avoid the mistakes we just covered, then I want to invite you to a free training I put together just for you. Inside, you'll get a step-by-step breakdown of how to invest smarter, protect your crypto, and build long-term wealth, even if you are starting small. Click the link in the description. Your future self will thank you for it. Before you go, I want to hear from you. What was your biggest takeaway from this video? Was it the mindset shift about not needing a full Bitcoin? Or was it learning how to protect your crypto from mistakes that most people never see coming? Drop your thoughts in the comments because I read every single one and I always reply when I can. And if this helped you see Bitcoin in a new way, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. I create videos like this every week to help you win smarter, not harder. You now have the roadmap, the insights, the strategies, and the tools most investors never get until it is too late. So the only thing left to do is act on it. This is your time.